Well, hello, and welcome back to another Market Conversations. Hi, everybody. Jerry Hall, broadcasting from beautiful Costa Rica. And let me just take a quick second and thank those folks that have come to the stream early before we even went live. JDO presenting some incredible content, and we'll get to that just in a second. We got Lorna, we got Simon and Lori, P. Kelly in the house. It's nice of you folks to be right there on time. And I see there are more in the counter than are chiming in on the chat. Ellie Poole, nice to have you. So here's the thing with this topic tonight, right? JDO is, he did, please, if you're just tuning in, go up this chat, see what he put in, but I'll start here. He's saying, before answering the topic question, you need to define what does safety mean in an asset control. Very important, and we'll get to that just in a second. Seems simple, but different people have different answers. That's very true. Control of our assets. At best, we can only control the coins. We cannot control the networks that our coins are 100% dependent on. Again, that's true. Control of our assets, part two. We cannot control the people behind our coins and the success or failure those people achieve. That is all true. However, it's interesting. The topic for tonight, and what really got me thinking of how I was going to create a context for this show, wasn't about digital assets at all, as a matter of fact. It was around our base economy, the way we interact with exchanging value on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to pose this question to you folks and ask for your responses in the chat. And that is this. How secure is your value? Ask yourself this question. What would happen if you rolled up to a gas station, whipped out your plastic card, or for some of you, a metal black one, and put it in the pump to pump gas, and the machine said, sorry, we're unable to accept credit payments. Please pay in cash. Then you go to a bank ATM, and the bank ATM says, sorry, we are temporarily offline. Please try again later. Ask yourself those questions. What would you do? The reason I bring this up, and I think it's really important for people to understand, is that this is not a new threat. What has got me concerned starts off with the base layer of debt. The world's debt is staggering. The deficit spending by governments around the world is astronomical. What is at the heart of every down cycle, every recession, every depression? It's all the fact that the debt servicing can no longer continue. That at some point you reach a threshold. And what is that threshold? Was there a threshold known in advance before the Great Depression? Was there a threshold known before the recessions of the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s, and the early 2000s? Was there a threshold known before the Great Financial Crisis in 2008? I'm sure some have speculated. And those people probably fled to safety before those calamities occurred. But for the most part, the masses get crushed. And why I bring this up is because for whatever reason, I felt compelled to go back and look at the 2013 crisis in Cyprus and the legislation that was in place that allowed them to close the banks, cut off all access to funds contained within the banks, while the government went in and repatriated X amount of percent out of every account holder's account, and then obviously reopened. Now, what I find interesting is that in the EU and in the United States, and I haven't done any digging beyond that, but these laws are in place and they're called bail-in laws. You should understand those. Now, am I saying, hey, the house is on fire, run? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is understand the system that you're in. Understand that all it takes is an executive order to implement a particular law that will shut down the banks and shut down your access to what you feel is your money contained in that bank. Why I believe the digital asset space is so incredible and so unique is that it offers protection against that to some degree, right? If you are somebody that all of your assets are held on a platform that is regulated in the EU or regulated in the United States, and those governments employ these bail-in laws, those companies are forced to comply. However, if you're holding your stuff on a Ledger Nano X or staking your Cardano on a Daedalus wallet or a MyAlgo wallet or any of the number of protocol dependent wallets, then you're relatively safe from confiscation. And it's just important to understand these things. Do I think the sky is falling? No, not at all. But do I see a very clear path to something like this happening, not in Cyprus, but in the United States or in the EU? Yes, I do. And I see it because it's very clear. The deficit spending and the debt supercycle are so out of control that the plastering over of the insolvency of most of the world's economies can only be propped up with paper mache so much before the weight of it just collapses on itself. It's something to consider and think about. Try to understand it so that when you see these type of things starting to get any kind of news traction, that you have a plan B. Your plan B is blank, whatever that is for you in the jurisdiction that you're in, etc. Again, I'm not trying to be a doomsday sayer. I just really want people to think about these kind of things. Now, you know, one of the things that I feel is really important, and I've touched on this before, and I want to come back to it because I don't know if I outlined like any kind of solution, and that is when I had Rob from Digital Asset News on the channel, and we were talking about, open the show talking about custody, talking about chain of custody, right? i.e. assigned beneficiaries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. One of the solutions that I implemented for myself, and it was actually brought to me by my son, Dylan, and that is opening up an encrypted mail account with Proton Mail. Proton Mail, a very high encryption level. And if the person that you're interacting with also has a Proton Mail account, then you can, with a very high degree of certainty, know that your email is not going to get hacked, right? Seen by eyes other than intended. So what I've done is I've gone through, and every single protocol wallet has its name, where the wallet can be downloaded, the name of the wallet that I have, the seed phrase, the seed phrase I have for that wallet, passwords that I have for that wallet, and all that information gets written down, and I send an email to my son. Platforms get a little more tricky because platforms like Coinbase and Nexo and Abra and Celcius and, you know, Voyager and all these, they don't offer the ability to assign a clear chain of title to a beneficiary. Why? I'm not really clear. It's not a legal issue. So therefore, it has to either be a technical issue or an oversight or reluctance to do that extra work. And we all know that these platforms are making a ton of money from us, yet this space has the worst customer service in the world in an industry that needs customer service more than any other industry because it's brand new and the tech is new and everything is new and people don't fully understand it. You would think that these companies that are making billions of dollars a year would divert some of that money to some good customer service, but they don't. And it makes sense in a way. They're greedy. And they're coming, most of them come from a financial background with banks, etc. And banks have shitty customer service. But even shitty bank customer service is better than the customer service you get in the digital asset space. Unless you're wealthy, mega wealthy. Speaking of mega wealthy. So I've been thinking, I'm buying property and I'm going to build a home. And one of the things I'd like to do is find out if there is a program for me with Nexo or Voyager or Celcius or what have you, where I can get like some white glove treatment. Can I get an account rep to work with me to create a loan program to finance the building of my paradise retreat here in Costa Rica without having to sell my digital assets? I'd really like to do that. But I don't want to do it in such a way where I, use their normal platform criteria, where the loan that's denominated in US dollars and the interest that's owed on it daily are based in US dollars, yet the actual value of the portfolio is a constant moving target. In the finance world, they call it, it's priced mark to market. So whatever the most current market price is dictates the value of the portfolio. In no other financial services realm does that take place. Zero. We're the only ones. Crypto is the only industry that does that. If I had $1 million portfolio on TD Ameritrade, they would not, and I went and got a loan and collateralized my portfolio against it. It's just like a house. They evaluate the portfolio at the time of the loan. And unless there's some catastrophic market activity, that's what it is. And it handles that structure all the way through the life of the loan. In crypto, this mark-to-market presents problems. Any of you that have had assets on one of those lending platforms and gone through a liquidation, you can attest to that. Not fun, not pleasant. I'm going to hit the, here, what do we got here? We've got some new folks have entered the stream. Steve Willits, great to have you in the house, man. Love it. Bill Gould, Johnny Midas has jumped in. I saw some questions. I'll get to it. I'm looking for Apex Crypto, nice to have you in the house. I'm looking for, okay, hi, Jerry, okay. Oh, Claria Martinez. Greetings from Mexico City. Oh, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien? Great to have you. Scorpion, great to have you in the house. All right, we've got JDO here. What does this say? This says, Jerry Hall, isn't the most secure email a shard email account? I have no idea what the most secure is. I am very, very confident in the encryption that comes with Proton Mail. There are no dual accounts with double the vulnerability. One communications point by sharing one Proton Mail account. Now, I guess if you share an account, that would add a little something. Thank you for that. I didn't think of that, and my son didn't think of that, but that's not a bad idea. Kathleen, nice to have you in the house. Okay, there's more comments. Let's see here. Hi, Jerry. Hoping your waterfall paradise is coming along smooth. John Phelps, thank you very much. The purchase is going through right now as we speak. We're in this escrow thing, and I've been working with the architect, really diving into the design process. I'm really excited about that. And I'm also coming to grips with the reality that the engineering and the erosion control element is not going to be cheap. I really thought in my mind, I had a number that I thought, made sense to me to do what we would need to do to secure the mountain above me from sliding down into my tropical paradise. And it's looking like it's going to cost like 5 times more than the number that I put on it, which kind of sucks. But then again, you know what? If that's going to be what it takes, then that's going to be what it takes, because I'm here for the long haul and this is where I'm going to be. And the truth of the matter is I'm not starting construction until the portfolio allows me to start construction. The purchase is one thing, the building out the project is another. Unless I can, I got a thing from Abra. I sent them a little thing. Hey guys, I did this to everybody. Nexo, so I did this to everybody. I have a decent sized portfolio and I'm looking to finance the construction of my new property, leveraging that, taking a loan against that. I do not want to sell my crypto. What do you have to offer me? Abra is the only one that sent me something back. We have a platinum program for high net worth individuals. Here's the form. Please fill it out. So I'm going to fill it out. I'm going to send it back to them. I don't know if I'm considered platinum in their criteria, but if I am, right on. And if I'm not, that's okay too. I will figure this out, right? There's all kinds of stuff coming. I'm sure I'm going to get to it. Scorpion has used this. I love Proton Mail, but even better than that is to encrypt a file with Veracrypt. All your son needs is the password to, Scorpion. I think okay. If that can be done easily, I'm a tech-tard. I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. I've had FET locked up in that stupid Ethereum wallet that's been locked for 3 weeks. Unable to get it into my new Cosmos Station wallet for FET. And the only solution that I read about was me giving my private keys to MetaMask to do it. And I'm reading it and I'm thinking, oh my God, you never give out your private keys. The one time I did, I was so stupid I did it. I got my Ethereum taken and some AGIX. This was like months ago in this stupid Celcius phishing attack thing. They used Celcius's brand new web app and I got sucked into it and I turned over and it was just stupid. Anyway, thank God for Nick Black. He walked me through this thing. I did it the way he told me to do it. And it all worked out really super easy. And I was like, wow, that was kind of easy. And now I have a plan. I'm going to, get rid of that particular MetaMask wallet and get another MetaMask wallet, and I'll be fine. No harm, no foul. So anyway, Scorpion, let's get you on the show. Create a bullet point thing for that. That would be so cool if we could share that with the audience. Hey, Vi, check this out. Because that sounds a lot easier than what I did. And if it's as secure or more secure, then I'm all for it. But anyway, folks, go read this article. It's a publication out of England, and it goes into detail and talks about circumstance, parameters, and the things that allowed these this 2013 Cyprus bail-in to occur. Truth be told, it was an incredible thing for Bitcoin, right? People in Cyprus were scooping up Bitcoin. It was like, wait a second, you can't confiscate Bitcoin? I'm going to go get some because the bank just confiscated 15% of my money. Perfectly legal too, by the way. All 100% legal. Professor, nice to have you in the house. So, look who's in the studio. Look who's backstage, all smiley and ready to go. I brought in early Bitta Av. Bitta, nice to see you.
You too. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yay. What's happening? What's shaking, kid?
Well, I'm waiting for coffee. My mom is making traditional coffee, and I'm hoping that she'll bring it to me because normally this is the time we have it, but I came in early, so I'm hoping she'll be bringing it to me. So So you'll see me, having a little bit of a coffee. I usually try not to eat or drink in front of everybody, but maybe
No,
not
that's
today.
right on, right on. So I want to thank you on air. You interviewed me for my show, and we put it up on the thing, and it got 330 views. But one of the things that was really fascinating about that particular interview was the degree in which I got responses. So folks that had my WhatsApp number sent messages. There were comments left on the video itself. I got private DMs on Facebook and Twitter, all referencing that. And so although 330 is not a large amount of viewers, the proportion or percentage of the 330 that watched it who sent me a message was higher. I got more engagement from that as a percentage of the overall thing. It was just incredible. So thank you for doing that very, very much. I really appreciated that. And I hope that it creates a deeper insight into me and how I operate, right? Because if we can take little pieces from each other to make each other better, then isn't that kind of the name of the game?
Absolutely. I was very happy to do it. It was one of those, I've kind of been a little reluctant to get my own stuff going. So it was kind of a push in the right direction from your end as well. And then it was a very important topic to have. So I was very happy to do it. And I'm glad that we had that done. So I've been quite distracted with everything else going on. So I'm not as active on social media nowadays, but that is actually on purpose just because there's so many other things going on. But hopefully that will lead us to like doing more interviews and more content on your channel and your platform so that we can get it growing. So I'm glad that a lot of people are engaged in the conversations. That actually is very helpful when people are engaged. So awesome.
Absolutely. And speaking of platforms, I am going to spread my wings a little bit. Nick Black had gotten himself involved with this project called trader.tv.
Oh, okay.
And they are basically going to be a video interactive platform with integrated trading capacity. So you could literally, while you're engaging in media, also trade directly through the platform.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's in a beta. I've already started to provide them some of my interview content that they'll load up and archive. And I plan to do a live stream on their platform once a week, probably something like a Tuesday or Wednesday, depending upon when the analytics say a live stream would be more appropriate. And they have the technical ability with their software engaging with StreamYard that we can actually do very cohesive real-time call-in, like the old-fashioned call-in radio shows where people would actually call in on their phone. Hi, Jerry, long-time listener, first-time caller. And I'll say, hey, go ahead, caller. Yeah, hey, this is my question. I lived in Cyprus in 2013. It pissed me off. I bought Bitcoin, and lucky for me, I bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, and now it's worth 50 million. What do you suggest in Costa Rica to look for property? You know, I don't know what it'll be like, but the point is that live interaction, like an old-fashioned live radio call-in show, this would be a really nice medium or platform to do that. So if people are interested, they've given me 10 invites to go test out and play with the beta. So if you're interested in checking this trading.tv out, DM me on Twitter and I'll shoot you one of my 10 invites.
Sweet. Okay.
Now, Danny Steele. Hey, Danny. Danny is probably, now that Clayton died, Danny is my oldest living friend. In other words, Danny and I grew up as kids together and are still alive when a lot of our friends are dropping like flies, unfortunately. And well, this is what happens when you get older, Bitta.
I know. Well, you don't have to even be older anymore. So, well, in a
Well,
higher rate nowadays than before. So
that's true. That's true. What do you got on your list? You got any questions that you wanted to bring to the table tonight, or things you wanted to talk about?
yeah, so we were gonna talk about market cap, how people, choose which crypto. I was also thinking about talking about. I think last time we had a conversation with Bill, we were talking about how does technical analysis come into figuring out when to sell and when to buy. And also if we can like get into a little bit of the consensus algorithm and how that helps you figure out which projects to be invested in and things like that. That would be a good topic, I believe.
Well, let's start it off with market cap. Hey, folks, in the chat, right, in the comments, type in what you think market cap is and what it represents.
And how it's calculated.
Right. So, market cap is a representation of the sale price, the most recent sales price of something, times the number of things that there are. So if you had, and I use this example all the time when people are like, I'm not really sure what market cap is. A lot of people come to the thing and they think market cap represents the value that's locked there, that's sitting there. Like for instance, let's just take a quick peek. Currently, right this second, Live Coin Watch says Bitcoin has a market cap of $1.0167 trillion. Now, a lot of people will think that there is 1.7 or $1.07 trillion locked up into Bitcoin. That's not true at all. That is not you couldn't be any further away from accurate. Market cap is a representation of the most current sales price of something times the amount of those things there are.
The circulating supply or the maximum supply?
The supply that's in existence today.
Okay. The
All
circulating.
right. So what that means, and I give this example all the time, like this is how I explained it to my son. Try to boil it down, keep it simple. Let's say you've built 5 boxes. These boxes are incredible. And somebody comes in, now you have all 5, and somebody comes in and says, I've got to have that box. I'm going to give you $1,000 for that box because that box is so freaking cool. I've got to have it. And my son says, okay. And he gives them the box for $1,000. What do you think the market cap for those boxes are?
$1,000?
No.
Times 5?
There you go. 1,000 times 5. It's a $5,000 market cap for those boxes, even though my son still holds 4 of them. Is it coffee time? I saw that smile.
Yes. My mommy just brought me coffee.
Okay. So that's how it works, right? That's how it works. Now that the $1,000 is the established price, if he can't sell another box at $1,000 and has to sell it for $500, right? He's still got 3. He finds a buyer that will buy it for $500. He sells it for $500. What's the market cap for the boxes?
I'll assume the first one will still be that, but then however many he has left times
and
the
that's
500.
where you would be wrong. It's not. It's the 500
So
times 5. 500 times 5.
Okay.
Now the market cap is $2,500. It's the most recent price, the established price, times the number of units in the thing, whatever the thing is.
Okay.
All right. So market cap does not necessarily assign anything other than the value of the thing relative to how many things there are. Now, why do I bring this up and why does it matter in crypto? It matters in crypto a lot when you start looking at the available supply of something, right? There might be 19 million something Bitcoins in existence, But what if you and me and everybody on this stream, we held 17 million of them and we're not selling? We're not selling. Our stuff is not for sale. That means there's only 2 million out there floating around in the market. Well, what if one other person comes in and says, I'm going to buy up 1.9 of the remaining 2 million? That means there's only 100,000 Bitcoin for sale. Well, if nobody's willing to buy any more, and the sales price for those 100 million as they keeps going lower, so will the market cap and so will the value of all of our stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. So when you start looking at the price of your asset and the market cap of your asset, understand that it's not representing the value. The value is relative to what you can sell it for, right?
Okay.
And why this matters is because as supplies shrink, if the demand doesn't exceed the supply, your price will go down. And a lot of people have asked me, you know, why with all this good news did my price go down? Why with all this incredible innovation did the price go down? Prices are set on an open market, and they're relative to what's available and what somebody will pay for them. So understand that when you're trying to ascertain or assign causality to something, that's something to consider. This is a good discussion for when someone looks at a crypto and says, oh, it's so cheap, it's only blah, 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 blah. Well, that very well could be. That very, very well could be. Remember, at the end of the day, in a fixed supply asset, supply and demand is everything. And on some days, man, there's going to be more supply than demand. And that's just the truth. And we live with that. And the market in the moment is going to set the price for the whole thing. All right. So do you feel, Bitta, and the audience, do you feel like you've got an understanding of market cap?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
The last one that was just up asked about the 10 apples and
Professor. Yeah, if you have 10 apples and your neighbor takes away 2, what do you have? You have 8 apples. That's what you have.
And then he said, what is it? 10
Oh, he said, and the answer is 10 apples and a dead neighbor.
Yeah, that's the last one that I had missed.
Okay, that was now Crawford Fortune, welcome. Nice to see you in the stream. And he brings up a good point. The liquidity is how much can be cashed out without effect on the market cap. Liquidity is the amount of dollars or value in a particular book at that particular moment. So obviously, if you want to sell something with very low liquidity, you're going to have a major effect on the price because the price is set in the marketplace that affects the entire market cap. And if there's not selling and buying in lockstep, if one of those is out of whack, it's going to go up or down, right? More sellers, price goes down. More buyers, price goes up. All right.
And so along with that, let's talk about also like the technical analysis and how you're able to, how valuable it is for you to forecast. Like,
all right.
Because
I am not an expert in TA, but I do watch a bunch, right?
Okay.
I follow Blockchain Backer, and I like his energy and I like his personality. But here's the thing. There's a bunch of other people too that use TA in the digital asset space. And I've been watching them and following them for as long as they've had channels, as long as I've been here, 3+ years. Nobody doing technical analysis of the price of an asset is giving you any kind of good forecasting. And thank God they got YouTube channels, because you can go back and look at the dates. TA is not a great indicator for forecasting when you're looking at something today going forward and measuring against what that same thing did the last time this was in this fib scale, right? This Fibonacci, or this particular amount of, bought or sold, the volume, right? RSI or any of those kind of metrics. However, when you take TA and you get away from the solo asset perspective of TA, where you're looking at, XRP in 2017 versus XRP in 2019 or 2021, and you get away from that and you look at assets on charts as they pertain to a mindset of Metcalfe's law or network growth, they get very, very, very eerily similar. So if you take a Bitcoin chart, i.e. Bitcoin's the longest, oldest digital asset in the space, and you go from the beginning to now, and you take the assets that you're invested in, and you start measuring them in, not from a price perspective, but from like years of age, like how old they are, 3 months old, 1 year old, 18 months old, 2 years old, that type of stuff, and start measuring them against Bitcoin at those same 6 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You start seeing something, and then you can do this with a lot of any of the other network stuff, Facebook, Google's, right? These networks, and it's eerily similar how these networks all kind of follow the same pattern for adoption and growth, right?
Okay.
Right. So ones that stick around more than 10 years all kind of look exactly the same. And then you got a bunch that looks exactly the same as they did in the early years, but then they die. So how do you discern if you found a new project, will it hit escape velocity and be one of those things that'll be here in 10 years, right? There's two things that I've been led to that appear to be working correctly. And that is when their quote unquote market caps reach 200 billion or above, they've reached escape velocity.
Okay. How did you come that number?
I don't know why. That just seems to be the number. That was, excuse me. That's the magic number that first you could look at with the debate or the market dominance of Betamax versus VHS. That's the same exact metric that can be applied to the MySpace versus Facebook. That is the same criteria that you just plug along, go through. So any of these things, when you're looking at a decade old or longer, it's the $200 billion market cap mark that seems to be that line of demarcation that is escape velocity. In other words, it's not going back to zero. It's an established, it's reached quote unquote established. And how much of that is because those are the same metrics, by the way, that are used in criteria by sovereign wealth funds, mega insurance companies, and huge pension funds. In other words, the largest pools of capital in the world have a criteria, just like the stock market has with penny stocks. You cannot buy penny stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. They have to be done over the counter through secondary exchanges. The New York Stock Exchange has a number. If your stock isn't at this dollar amount, you're not listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
There are criterias for highly speculative stuff versus safer stuff. And these huge pools of capital have used these criterias to decide what they will invest in and what they won't. Right? And it
Yeah,
seems
that
to be
makes
that
sense.
$200 billion mark is kind of the mark of, okay, you guys are graduated, you're here, you're going to be here. That doesn't mean you're going to be hugely successful, but you're here and you're going to be here.
Right.
And we only have two assets in the digital asset space that have reached that mark yet. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Everybody else is still climbing and trying to get there.
Yeah, I was just looking at the comment that they wrote. What else do you like? So if you don't use technical analysis to not necessarily predict, because there's really no predicting, but there's waves and cycles of understanding when you're in the bull run versus in the what is it? The other one, bull run, and what's the
Bear
other one?
market,
Bear market.
bull and bear.
Like yeah. So if
See,
you
I
can
don't.
use it,
Here's the thing: TA to forecast. I haven't found a TA guy that can forecast correctly. Oops. And until they do, I'm not buying it. Now, do I think it's entertaining? Sure. Do I believe that pattern recognition is important? Absolutely. Is it necessary to understand? Absolutely. But currently, is it sufficient to base judgment on and decisions on? No. It's like this is a big puzzle. This is a big puzzle, right? It's a really big puzzle. And that's just one little piece, right? But I would not be risking a ton of money on a TA assessment, right? And I think most, like, one of the things I do really like about the Bitcoin backer, blockchain backer, I apologize, is he'll tell you, it's like these charts and these analysis that he does not lock him into I've got to do this. Looks like we lost Bitta. Or I've got to do that. It's very open and gray. It's like I am going, if we reach this, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do this. He's not definite or defined saying this is going to happen, so on this day I'm going to do this. And I think people need to understand that. This is a very difficult space. However, there are a lot of other things that are coming in that are being incorporated into technical analysis that I do think are very, very valuable. And that is understanding the on-chain metrics, understanding wallet creation and wallet growth, understanding how to look at some of these things on Glassnode and go, all right, I can look at the amount of new wallets that were created in October, the new wallets that were created in September, the new wallets that were created in August, the new wallets created in July of this year, and look at that hard number. And what do I see? Do I see a trend up? Right? New wallet creation is only going to flatline or go up. It'll never go down, because once a wallet is created, it's created, right? So that's only one piece of the puzzle. Then you get another piece of the on-chain metrics. How much do these wallets contain? Are these same wallets increasing their holdings of an asset, or are they decreasing their holdings of an asset? And that's the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency, is that this information is available to us because blockchains are transparent. And there are a lot of wonderful places like TradingView and Glassnode. And there are other things where you can actually subscribe and get somebody's distilled version of their quote unquote on-chain data rolled out to you in a format that's consumable for you or for your desired, approach. That's my TA spiel. You got my whole technical analysis spiel right there.
I kind of like it because it's like I like looking at it because I'm learning so much new stuff now. It's I'm trying to see where it fits in, or like when to take it so seriously and when to kind of just look at it for generic patterns or things like that. So it's always like I still want to know like what is going on and how it works. So that's one of the reasons I still sort of trade, not so much for profit, just because I want to understand how it really works. So for like a general idea. So, and I also want to talk about just like use cases as far as if the use case that a project started with, and it hasn't, the market cap is growing, but the project is not fully like changing direction a little bit, I guess we can say. Like, how does that affect the price, and like how do you look at that? How do you see that? Like Bitcoin, for example, like what it was created for versus what it's not really being used for what it was created for originally. And like now there are technologies that are coming in that are helping it get there. But like, how do you look at that?
Well, I think that there is always evolution, right? We as people evolve, right? We evolve from not speaking and pooping at will and you know, crying and screaming when something emotionally, you know, affects us, to, you know, walking and talking and behaving and sometimes misbehaving. I mean, so everything evolves, right? Everything evolves. And it, you know, something will either A, get a market fit, or it won't, right? A great case in point, you can go through, and it's kind of fun to do this, especially when you go back far enough from when you got here, right? So when you got here, in your memory, what were the top 3 or top 4 or top 5 digital assets when you came to this space? Do you remember the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
So I originally got introduced with XRP.
Is there something going on with your microphone? Did you cover it with something, or?
Can you hear me?
Barely, but go ahead.
Do you want me to hop out and come back? Maybe.
You could try. Yeah, try that. Maybe that's the thing. I'll tell you, I remember. So when I got here in January of 2018, the top 5 were Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and there was, I guess it had just got into the top 5, or just kind of secured itself in the top 5, was Bitcoin Cash. And I guess that in mid 2017, it had forked from Bitcoin. Those were the big ones. Those were the top 5. Now, obviously, Bitcoin's still number 1. Obviously, Ethereum's still number 2. XRP is no longer number 3. And Litecoin is not, I don't even think Litecoin's in the top 10 anymore. Or who knows where Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are. Here, let me go look. Wow. Where is Litecoin? Come on. There it is. There's Litecoin. Litecoin is number 16.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but it's no longer number 4.
Right.
God, it appears Bitcoin Cash is no longer even in the top 25. So things change. All right, Lee, nice to have you in the stream. I don't think I've seen you before, Lee. Lee, risk reward ratio. Aware the risk and willing to take it. Investing and gambling is a very thin line. A lot of time people is gambling. I think he meant are gambling and thought they were investing. Well, I think you're absolutely right, Lee. As a matter of fact, I had somebody call me, a buddy of mine. Hey, can you help me get my Shiba Inu over to Nexo? I heard you talk about Nexo earning interest. And I went, Shiba Inu on Nexo? They don't offer Shiba Inu on Nexo. I said, why do you have Shiba Inu? Dude, it's gone up 100%. I said, yeah, but why do you have Shiba Inu? Because it's going up. I went, okay. How much did you invest? He goes, $500. I said, great. So you got over $1,000 worth of Shiba Inu right now. He said, yes. I said, sell half of it immediately. Why? Why would I do that? Because if you invested $500 and you hit a lottery ticket and the thing shot up like that, get your original investment out. And then whatever happens, it doesn't matter. Well,
Right.
what if it really goes up more? I go, okay. What if it really goes down fast? And it can. Really think so? Yeah, I really think so. Be smart. Don't be, you know, this isn't gamble. I mean, you can gamble if you want to, right? Go ahead and do Shinu Iwu with 20 times leverage. If you really want to gamble.
Yeah.
You really want to gamble, go do some 20x leverage with some Shibu Inu. Don't get emotionally connected to your coins. Very good, Lorena. Very good advice. However, I have realized with this whole property thing and knowing that I'm going to have to shave some assets to build this thing I want to build, if I can't find a Nexo or Aber or somebody to give me some kind of really cool deal, I really do I like my portfolio, and I don't want to sell any. I mean, I've invested in all these things because I honestly believe they've got a real world application and they're just trying to find a market fit, right? They really solve a problem. Will the market agree with them?
Yeah. Well, your portfolio is just moving from one asset class to another asset class, so it'll be okay.
Oh, you know what? I haven't thought of it like that. And I'll tell you what's interesting. This whole process, right? Buying land requires lawyers and escrow, and they don't take crypto. So I'm having to wire money from a US bank to a foreign bank.
Yeah.
And you get spoiled when you really get spoiled in the digital asset space. Like if Bita says, "Hey Jerry, I'm going to send you $100," or I say, "Bita, I'm going to send you $500." I can do it, and you get it within a minute or two. Almost any asset. If some assets obviously are faster, and some are a little slower, but the point is, it's very quick. Dealing in the world with
the real
world. It's like, wow.
And the fees too.
Well, I'm lucky. I'm with the greatest bank in the United States. I'm with Charles Schwab. And an international US dollar international wire transfer cost me $15.
Oh, wow.
Period. $15.
Okay. That is pretty nice.
That's not bad.
I paid $35 every time you do the ACH. Is that what it's called when you're like funding your exchange in other places? Yeah.
Oh, Daniel, you've got a fan. Bita, you are so beautiful and smart. Curious what nationality you are.
East African. Most of us look alike, so yeah, that's how people can tell us apart. The original crypto I got introduced to was actually XRP and XLM. That's how I actually got started. So one of my friends, he said, go look into. He just gave me a list of. He said XRP, XLM, and Coinbase. He said, go look it up. He didn't give me any information. He just said those three things. He said, go figure it out. I was like, but what is it? He's like, just go figure it out. And he said, and then go get a cold storage. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? Like, what are you saying? And he's like, just go, Google it, YouTube it, just figure it out. And that's how I got into it. And then, of course, you will discover BTC and Ethereum, and then ADA after that. So, and then VET, and on and on and on from there. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey for sure. So
right on. Well, I'm looking at the clock, and I'm thinking it's time to bring in a producer extraordinaire. Hey, Brady, wake up, baby.
Rise and shine.
Hello there.
How are you tonight, Brady? Anything you'd like to add to this conversation?
Let me see. I do concur thus far. I would say what I've learned, I kind of see Bita's interest in the TA part of this, just because there is such large percentage movements. I would say if anyone if they couldn't keep themselves from rolling the dice, then they should do it with a small amount of cash and just buy something before you think it's going to go up, take out your initial investment, and let the rest do what it wants. If you have to, because at least then you're like, instead of putting your capital in and then having it waiting for it to double, or waiting for it to do something, as long as you get 10, 20, 30%, cool. Take your capital out and go do something else. But always don't let that be your sole portfolio strategy. You need to have every other asset that you think is going to do well over time gaining interest or staking or whatever it is, because if you want to be right, you need to already be making the money so that you can buy low and sell high. But that's not what's going to make you the money. So it's sort of sure, you can do it and it feels good, but don't neglect the rest of your garden, so to speak.
Interesting.
I think it's helpful. Like, understanding how it works is very helpful, and understanding the cycle, and because I do feel like a lot of the TA does help you figure out the bigger picture, like you said, where you can kind of see where, the lows and the highs and like what, like the trends are, and it does help figure out, like, are you coming in high, or like where are you in the cycle? Like, it helps.
Right. And I found that like, moving averages work the best, or at least in my experience.
See, I think, and okay, this is going to be so contrary to the TA crowd out there, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but it by itself is so insignificant to you. Case in point, you are a person who makes decisions. You have a portfolio. So I don't care what any chart says. You have X amount of dollars that you've put into the digital asset space. You have X amount of value that the assets you own have accrued or not. And that is what's important, not what the chart says. So if you came in and bought Bitcoin at $15,000, right? And now we're sitting at $55,000. I don't need to look at a chart to say, this is a good time to take profit or not. If I come in and buy at $54,000 and it goes down to $48,000, and it looks like it's going, because the TA guys are saying it's going to go down to 30, I should probably sell. How many times have you seen the market? No, I'm just saying, everything relative to an individual. Where are you? That's the most important part. Not
your
where
time
the
horizon,
chart is.
Yeah, your time horizon. Your time horizon will like determine like where you're gonna get in. But Brady left.
We lost Brady. He's juggling multiple devices.
Yeah, so your time horizon does determine like where you're gonna get in, but seeing the chart and knowing like, okay, after a certain bull run, or like knowing where you're getting it, it helps you figure out whether you're gonna cost average. Like, there are certain things you can actually do if you understand the technical analysis. I still personally think that it's important, but it's not the only thing that's necessary. But based on whether you're trying to do short-term trading versus long-term investment, I do see the value in it for
okay. And I wish you nothing but success. However, what I've seen, all the quote unquote crypto YouTube technical analysis people are using stock market metrics in a network driven industry, and they are apples and oranges. I don't know if it's like saying, I'm a painter, and for 20 years you've been using a brush to apply paint to a house, And now all of a sudden somebody says, here, I'm going to pay you to paint my car because you're a painter.
Okay,
Pumpkins,
no, I would
pumpkins
not.
and oranges.
It's different shit. So I'm just saying, be careful. I know a lot of us are trying to leverage the experience, education, and information of others, and I applaud that. But also, there is stuff that we should be very, very, very open and honest with each other about, and that is that this new industry is a new industry. This isn't the stock market all over again.
It's better than nothing, though, Jerry. Like, it's better than nothing.
No, and that's what I said. I said it's important, but it's insufficient.
Okay.
And nobody has worked out the metrics yet. Nobody has the network effect TA procedure. They don't.
Or at least the closest.
And they do say that. Yeah.
The closest is 200 billion.
Pattern recognition. That's all they're taking from this. It's pattern recognition. Well, networks react different than other markets.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
remember
That's all
one
I'm saying.
time.
Have fun. I hope you make a shit ton of money.
But
I really
remember
do.
one time I traded my I had this tiny amount of Bitcoin that I wanted to trade because I wanted to see like how some of the analysis I was doing. And this was like in a very, very like in the beginning when Bitcoin was still like 13,000, 14,000, and I had gotten like a tiny fraction, and it hit 16,000, and I sold because I was hoping that it was gonna come back down so that I can get in more and then keep going. The darn thing never came back down. It just kept going and went past 30,000, and I was like,
But
thank
the
God it
TA
was
told you the technical analysis indicated that was the time to sell.
No, I was just learning. Like I was saying, okay, when it hit 50% from when I bought it, I was gonna take profit, but then I hadn't learned not to take everything out yet, and like I was just figuring stuff out. It was like a teeny tiny amount, but it was an interesting time because I go back and look at my notes and I still laugh at myself for that. But I'm glad I still did it. But it's just like, darn it, I still haven't figured it out yet.
I applaud anybody that can be profitable trading, right? I know how hard it was. I was a pro poker player for 3 years, and being a profitable poker player is not easy. Most people in card rooms are not profitable. Most traders are not profitable. Most. I mean, it's some ungodly amount, right? Some like 90% of traders go broke. They can't keep doing it. And I've had the good fortune of interviewing very successful traders from the old world. They're on my channel. You'll see them. I found them on Real Vision. And these guys will tell you, you know, it's a 51-49 type game.
Yeah.
They need to win. They need to be right 51% of the time to be profitable.
Yeah. It's the same thing with even the people that do like the Forex trading that I've known. They always say, you know, if you're doing 55%, you're doing well. So. And
that's the thing. And then what that comes into play is that the TA and all that stuff is one tiny little piece of the success equation, right? The largest piece of the success equation for a trader has nothing to do with the asset they're trading or the TA they're using. It's the bankroll management. It's how they manage their money, and it's sizing.
Yeah.
Sizing.
And they back test everything with the market and everything else going on. So yeah, they do put in a lot of time. So yeah.
Here we go. Scorpion. When he speaks, I listen. Agree, Jerry. However, there is a psychology behind TA, and the greater psychology follows TA and all its nuances. So we have to account that into TA. This is true. This is true. And when in doubt, call a psychic hotline. They're always
Call
right.
Cleo.
Call Cleo. So, Brady, final thoughts as we wrap tonight's show up.
I'm ready to hit the
Go.
reset button.
Okay.
Because I got some of my stuff. I guess I got some of my stuff back. Kind of. It's still kind of like in limbo. But I'm thinking about resetting and redoing my portfolio. So that should be interesting.
Yay.
Yeah.
Brady.
I would say if you get the hankering for some dice rolling, do it after you've established what you own, why you own it, and how you can explain it. And then take your little tiny percent and go have fun in the corner, because I guess if you want to become a quote trader, then the only way to do it is with experience. And since no one's going to give you their money, you just have to, I guess, put in the time with yours and see if you're right all the time, or if you want to make money. You choose.
Right on. I'll leave y'all with this. One, I want to say thank you. I'm so very grateful for all the folks that continue to support this channel. They subscribe, they hit the like button, they retweet the announcements, they comment in the comment section. Have fun, enjoy the ride. The growing adoption of this space is phenomenal. Case in point, we've got a very large country named Brazil introducing law to allow Bitcoin to be treated as a payments mechanism, right? Not as the national currency, but as an acceptable currency in their country for commerce. This is big.
Big.
It's big. Ukraine is doing something very similar. Ella Poole, ask a quick question and I'll close on this. Jerry, do you still have Casino Coin and how's it doing? I don't know how it's doing. Yes, I do have some. And that coin allowed me to buy a bunch of other coins. I started with I had 4 or 5 million of them. And then I'd sell 1 million, I'd sell 1 million. I got my money and my profit out, and I got some more 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 profit out. And I'm still sitting on 150,000 of them, and they're in Bitrue earning 4% compounded interest. And if something ever happens with that, I that would be wonderful. But it's a token that I'm on a free roll with, and it'll always just be sitting there. And if something happens, something happens.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the XRP ledger. It really is an elegant piece of technology. I'm just bummed that so much of this other incredible technology is coming and taking bites out of the global payments apple, because I really thought Ripple could have had that on lockdown. I really did. When I got to this space, I thought Ripple was going to get that global payments market on lockdown. And now we got Strike and all the Lightning stuff, and we've got stable coins, and we got XDC and XLM working with, friggin' MoneyGram and Blobbity Blue and blah, blah, blah. Mike Sweeney. Hey, thanks for the comment, man. Great to have you. So anyway, folks, have fun with it, but have a plan. Have an investment plan. Some of you may have a little taste for a little gamble. Right on. Have some gamble. Have some fun. It's a free country. You want to go to Vegas and put it all on black? Do it. I'm a proponent of building a foundation in projects that I honestly believe will be here in 10 years and having them earn yield for me, so that while I go through the price fluctuations of a growing, baby market, that at least I'm adding more of the asset without more of my US dollars having to go in. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. And until next time, everybody, pura vida.
Good night.